Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cellini
No,
Lounge.
I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. No.
Hey guys, welcome to Cellini Rounds. I'm Jim.
Michael.
I'm Tommy.
All right, let's get the energy up a little bit, guys.
Sorry,
I'm good.
I was
I'm pretty
distracted.
solid too, all things considered.
Yeah, there's an article I wanted to show at some point in time, but
Let's get right to it, Tommy. Hey, Tommy, let's get right to it.
I feel good.
Tommy, pull up the article.
Hey, Tom, pull up the article over there.
I was trying. I had to redo it just because
GPA, Michael.
the like ads on the side were like. I mean, I don't know why this keeps. It says, I'll share it.
Yeah, I don't mind. I just filmed a nice video. I'm ready to go.
So I wanted to talk about,
That's
which
nice.
is a good topic, is the neurotrauma.
Oh, that's a nice little country girl on the left.
Dude, that's what I was like. Why the hell is that my like ad? Like country picks
on
sweeter than
ESPN.
sweet tea? It's like, come on.
Broncos.
I think I know why it's your ad.
Okay, this guy.
Country girls. Country pitch sweeter than sweet tea. All right, Tommy, what are you saying?
I was just like,
I'll blur that out.
yeah, blur that out. But I wanted to talk about this topic as the Tua Tagovailoa neurologist got fired. The independent neurologist that evaluated him after his first concussion.
Hold on, Tommy.
Right.
Let's backtrack a little bit. And can you or someone explain the whole story? Because like I missed this whole
I'll
thing.
explain it.
All right, Jim.
Jim will
Switch to
explain.
Jim
Tommy,
and explain this.
Tommy, while I'm explaining it, pull up his concussion images of his decerebrate posture.
Oh yeah. Hang on.
So, for those that don't know, Tua Tagovailoa is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins are an NFL football team, and football is a very popular American sport. It's not soccer. Tua, 2 weeks ago against the Buffalo Bills in a hard-fought contest, suffered a concussion where he was pushed to the ground and his head whipped back against the ground. And when he got up, he kind of staggered and like, you could see he like collapsed, like his knees were weak still. And he was cleared. That was on a Sunday, and he was cleared by the NFL concussion protocol. I don't even know if they diagnosed him with a concussion or not, but he looked like he was out on his feet. And he played Thursday against who did they play on Thursday? The Ravens?
I think,
No, was it the Bills? No, it was the Bill. Oh, the Bengals. It was Bills then Bengals.
Yeah, and they played the Bengals on Thursday. So 4 days later, he was cleared to play. And he suffered another similar hit where I don't know if the defensive linemen know like what to do. I don't know if they like just know how to play him or not, but same thing happened. He whipped back again. And he was like getting pushed to the ground. And he has this way of falling where like at the last second he'll do this. Like
yeah,
kind of like he'll like recoil like that onto the ground. And this time he had a much worse concussion. And this is where Tommy can pull up images if he's a producer worth a damn at all.
I just want to. This is a medical podcast, so clearly these are medical images.
These are medical images.
Yep.
And this is what he looked like after the second concussion, probable concussion.
Yeah. So this is
you see how his fingers are. Let's just call it release from inhibition.
That's a good way to put it. It's a very neurologist way to put it.
That is very
So basically, I looked this up. This is so you see that image where it says manifestations of brain injury,
right? The cortical.
So he's displaying what looks to be, I mean, based on this image, but it also like kind of fits a decorticate posture, which is basically like a front of the brain injury that he suffered from the concussion.
Let's see if I can...
Or maybe is that brainstem? I forget.
I honestly, I was thinking about this after it happened, and I was like trying to think back to second year med
vet
school.
med. We don't do this. We do decerebrate and decerebellate, but not decerebrate and decorticate. So I don't know what the difference is.
I remember the name of it when I saw it.
Anyway.
Like you see this a lot when people get hit hard in football or other sports where they bring their arms up, decorticate posture. I can't remember what part of the brain it affects. That. There we go.
So that's a fencer posture. When you so this is different. What Tua's doing now is different. So what Michael's talking about when like UFC fighters get knocked out, and what normally happens is when dudes get knocked out, they do a fencer posture, which is like this, like they're just like this on the ground and their arms are stuck out. That's because the vestibular neurons are like directly activated in the brainstem, is what a fencer posture is. Okay. So it just shoots out all this like extensor tone down your spinal cord. But this is a little bit different. So you see how his fingers are kind of like all curled. That's because of this I mean, he's literally sitting there as a medical textbook on the field. And like the Miami Dolphins the next day are like, yeah, he's feeling better. He was laughing. We were watching social media on the plane and he's feeling better. And they're trying to get it to where like he can just play a week later.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like just fast forward 20 years from now and who even knows what's going to like be going on with this poor kid.
Right. The long-term repercussions. Yeah. I remember this picture because this was like in a medical textbook. It's like where the injury occurs and you get the decerebral and
okay. So you guys kind of tease it out from the mesencephalon pons sort of area.
You're throwing out words I don't remember at all.
Midbrain.
Yeah.
That's all those are cruce cerebri that you're looking at below the.
Yeah, those are the cruce.
Yeah.
The cruce.
Yeah. And then that's a little bit superior inferior, I think, on the bottom.
I couldn't name each of those nuclei, that's for sure. It's been a little too long. I used to know those like the back of my hand. Remember?
Oh, so good.
Isn't that crazy?
Do you remember what was that video series that was
Anyway, let's not get off topic. What are we going to talk about with the doctor?
Yeah. So yeah,
I spent all this time setting it up, and you abandoned what you wanted to talk about. With the sweeter than sweet tea country girl on the left. But
God, that's brutal over there.
Hey y'all, can I get y'all some sweet tea? Anything else you need? Anything else?
So I believe through concussion protocol in the NFL, they have an independent. Ever since like the CTE thing started happening, they have independent neurologists that evaluate the players. And that way it's like there's not supposed to be bias when they're getting them to play. They're not paid by the team and all that stuff. So they have an unaffiliated independent neurologist that was evaluating Tua after the first game. So the big concern is after that first game when he's wobbling and they're like, oh, it was a back injury. And it's like, well, that's probably not a back injury.
He probably had a back injury, but
also you don't buckle like that from a back injury.
Yeah, well, that was the second one. The first one he was wobbling around. It's like clearly.
Oh, they tried to say the second one was a back injury where his hands are curled.
The first one, no, the second one was clearly. It's like it's clearly concussive symptoms.
Right.
And so the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant, basically they fired him after this. I just want to get y'all's opinion. Do you think this guy? It's a tough situation. Because obviously there's like pressure from a million different points. You think this is a lot to do with the neurologist messing up, or do you think it's just purely like they need a scapegoat and they're like, let's just blame the neurologist, the quick and easiest way to get some sort of like positive news?
I think I know what happened, and then Michael can chime in after me.
Go for it, because you guys are more in tune on what happened and everything.
So what I think probably happened is this neurologist was like, I can't find evidence of like a neurologic deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So my exam is normal. And I mean, did they even do an MRI of his brain?
So that I don't know.
Because like is there even protocol to do like imaging of the brain after you have a concussion?
No, I don't think there's routine. I mean, usually there's no findings.
Yeah.
An MRI in the acute phase like that.
Right. So the doctor was probably like, well, I can't point to anything here. And like, I can't say like there's any reason for him not to play. So he was probably like, okay.
Yeah.
Because this science is actually less straightforward than you think it is, than like a lot of the media would have you believe.
Right. It's most definitely not an exact science.
So the doctor's probably like, look, I can't point to any definitive like algorithm here to like know what to do. So my default is going to be like,
yeah, well,
and then he's also paid by, the NFL. So that's a conflict of interest nonetheless. Right. But I think that is why he cleared him. And then I think that the Dolphins were probably just like, oh yeah, this is a really easy way to just like push a little bit of blame off of us.
Yeah.
To get out from under this.
Well, yeah,
I think both of those things happened.
Yeah, I think both those are probably true. Because I don't know what the actual criteria is for a post-concussive neuro evaluation, but I don't think there's many other ways to do a neuro exam than the way you do a neuro exam. So, I mean, for that reason, like you said, Jim, if he has a negative exam, you can't really be like, you can't really be like, oh, he can't play because it looked bad, his injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, he's sitting there. He's like, well, what else? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, his exam is normal.
Which I agree with. That's the position of him being in that as a physician, being the outside position doing that. But So I totally agree. But like Jim said too, is nothing's black or white in this field either, especially neurology.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, when there's
Especially.
no like actual physical manifestations, like Jim was saying, that you can point to, it leaves you kind of like there's not much you can do as a physician. You're like, like, do you want me to treat something? Do you want me to do a procedure on something? And like, if so,
Yeah.
what?
But see,
Like,
you know
what
what?
do you want me to do?
I bet you that's by design. And I bet
Yeah.
the NFL doesn't want, like, that's fine with them, you know?
Yeah.
They're like,
'Cause
because they see the outcome here, which is like, well, the medicine is like they're back
like,
on the field.
yeah, this
Great.
doctor, are you going to argue with a neurologist? He said
Right.
he's fine. There's nothing wrong. And it's like,
Well,
well, they didn't really say there's nothing wrong. It just said there's nothing that overtly wrong that I can see at this moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Or there's nothing I can measure or test. And which
You know, I mean,
limits my-
he equivocated.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah. But then
All day
ultimately,
long.
yeah.
yeah, it's just like a jury, you know. You have to have like all signs have to point to this can't happen, or
Yeah.
you know, you can't. He can't. He has nothing, no leg to stand on. If you were like this Tua can't play in next week's game, they'd be like, why? I'd be like,
Yeah. As some
I don't
freaking
know.
football coach, why can't my player play? They'd be like,
Yeah. And then you're
Because,
just like, yeah. He's like, well, what did you find that allows him not to play? And then he's like, I mean, the hit looked bad.
yeah.
You know, like he has nothing.
Right.
They're like, so does he
So-
have any symptoms? They're like, no, not right now. And they're like, well, then he looks good to me. Get on that
Right.
field, Tua.
Well, this also opens up another can of worms here is what neurologist is going to take on this position now going forward,
Yeah.
you know, with that kind of issue that will
Yeah,
rise.
I believe he was from I forgot. Oh, I thought there was someone. I can't remember if they used the unaffiliated neuro consultant as UNC as the acronym, or if it's actually from
Yeah, it
UNC.
is. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
Yeah, it's the acronym for unaffiliated neuro
Oh,
consultant.
okay. Because I was like,
I
wait a
bet
second.
the guy's probably like, all right, fine, whatever.
yeah. I mean, he's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just go back to being a normal neurologist like I was.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, whatever.
Go back
man.
to counting my money.
He's like, yeah, I wonder, because if it's unaffiliated, it's not associated with a team. It's hired by the league, I assume.
Yeah.
Which is they have to get
I'm pretty
paid
sure.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something had to happen. But also, I don't know, it's a weird scenario. I mean, like Jim said too, is the whole payment thing too. Is like, you know, maybe they slipped him a few $100.
Yeah.
100.
You know what I mean?
It's not Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's a hundo. Here's a
But,
Well,
toy.
speaking of a few $100, Tommy, I hear you are finding a job.
I am. I did find a job. So
You
I got
officially-
a bit.
Did you officially sign? Tell me
No,
everything.
I haven't signed yet, but I just agreed to a like the position.
Terms?
I don't know what the like I
You agreed to
accepted
terms?
I accepted an offer basically.
Are you like when a high school football player commits to a college and you're like going between the different hats?
Yeah.
And you put one on and you're like at the last second you're like no.
Yeah.
And everybody freaks out in the gym.
Yeah. I pop up.
How excessive are those, by the way?
So
excessive.
excessive.
I mean, some 18-year-old, like, no one actually cares that much where you're going to college.
Dude, it's some 3-star who's deciding between like Oklahoma State and Tulsa.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
big news.
I
It's
mean,
like, bro, what are we talking about?
Nowadays with these things, they'll literally just like put the hat on and everybody's like, yeah. They'll sit down, they'll start talking, and in like 5 minutes goes by, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. Nah, don't worry about it."
Yeah. Or they have like I've seen ones where they have like puppies and they're showing the puppies and they have like jerseys and they're like, oh, what puppy am I choosing? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, man.
Have you guys heard the story about the kid who faked that? Like he faked the whole conference. He wasn't even a football player for his high
No.
school.
That's so
You might
funny.
you might have to spend some time searching this and like, have to edit this part out.
What was he doing? He was acting like a
There was a
recruit.
kid in some high school a few years ago who faked getting recruited by like I forget what college,
What?
but he put on a whole deal like for his high school gym, and like everybody was like, he's not on the football team, you know, but he just like acted like he got recruited because he was some sick behind the
What?
scenes athlete. Fake.
How did that even
college.
pass?
Yeah.
Like, how did they even? So people at the school, they're just like, "What are you doing?"
It's this kid,
Meanwhile,
Nevada
he
high
made, like,
school.
Meanwhile, he made like national news. I feel like I'm vaguely familiar with that. Like I heard this story.
I'm sure I saw a roller. His name's Kevin Hart, apparently,
Pull it up,
Yeah,
then, Jamie.
yeah.
which is also hilarious.
I won't be able to hear it, though.
I know we won't be able to hear it, but basically this kid puts on it. He pretends like
2008.
he pretends like he's committing to cow.
What?
The
And then
wave is the best.
He's just messing with everybody.
Yeah, but what is everybody else doing?
Offensive lineman. I
And
mean,
he's literally. I mean, I'm sure some of these kids are in on it because they're his friends and they're like dying behind the scenes, like you
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah, but what about people on the football team? They're like, I've never seen this kid before.
yeah, that's what I don't. Everyone's like, I've never seen him actually play. Oh my god, look at the logos,
How bad are those graphics in 2008?
dude.
Oof.
Terrible.
Rough. Anyway.
Local news graphics in 2008.
Ooh, yee.
Yeah, watch
Like
out for
clip
that.
art.
Yeah, anyway, so Tommy, you got accepted or got accepted. You don't have to get accepted anymore. You just tell people, yes, you can have me.
Yeah, yeah, you can have me just like that. So, yep, we got that going on, which is exciting news and
Yeah.
relieving all in the same one fell swoop. Now I don't have to worry about it for a year, and I could just stroll through fellowship and
Now, are you don't have to say where, but
obviously.
do you have to? Are you going to move?
Yeah. Well, I might have to move. It's like
We
an
can-
hour and a half away or
We
something
could
like
probably
that.
say it's regionally, it's the Midwest.
Regional.
Yeah, it's
in the
still in the
Midwest.
Midwest. It's still close to where I am now, but it's a little far, so I have to move and all that stuff. So, but the goal is to likely try and keep this apartment here in Chicago, and then
Yeah.
eventually buy an apartment that we can Airbnb in Chicago, so we can like have a place.
That's
whenever
that would be key there.
Yeah, because the good thing about Chicago, and then
Hold
where
on,
obviously
keep this apartment and then wait, say that again. You're going to keep
Like-
your apartment now and then
Yeah, the
get
one I'm-
another apartment in Chicago.
no, keep this one that I'm in now, and then have an apartment where I'm living, and then keeping like both places, and then eventually
Oh,
trying to
I see what you're
buy
saying.
an apartment in Chicago when I get rid of this one, so you can Airbnb it, so it's not like too bad of
I see what
financial.
you're
But
saying.
good thing about Chicago and where we live, though, it's like rent's not like crazy. It's not like Manhattan where it's like
It really isn't.
$6,000.
It
No.
really isn't that
Yeah.
crazy to live there.
I
The
live
cost to rent where you live hasn't changed since I moved there 6 years ago.
yeah, it's gone up a touch. It's definitely gone
Yeah,
up,
like
but
none.
it's not crazy what you think it would be. It's not what
Yeah.
it
You're in,
should be.
you're in a huge city, though.
Yeah. The thing is, this area, like this, like the kind of like further out, the city center part of it is expensive as hell. It's so expensive.
What, like
River
down
North?
by
Yeah, like River
West Loop?
North, Gold Coast, yeah, West Loop, all those places are
West
like
Loop and Fulton Market are outrageous.
yeah.
that
It's
like
like what you would
is it like
think in a
Manhattan?
city. But once you go like a little further out, you actually get really reasonable prices for like living in a city. So it's like the combined, it's not like Manhattan where you get an apartment, you're like, oh, it's a 1 bedroom and it's $4,500 a month.
Yeah,
Like here,
can't even find
Like-
that anymore.
yeah, here it's like a 2 bedroom is like the only time you'll breach 2,000.
That is insane to me.
Yeah, because it's
That's
like
awesome.
I was looking 2 bedrooms around here where I'm living. It's like anywhere between 2,000 and like 3,000. That's usually the
Well,
range of a 2 bedroom.
Where we used to live, that unit, the house that like we're renting now, we kept it. That 2 bedroom unit is $19.50 a month.
Wait, the one you own?
Yeah.
Which is the top, or is it your
bottom,
place?
Where
It was
we used
two
to like the
bedrooms?
unit we lived in. Those 2 bedrooms.
Wait, that's only 1,900.
Yeah, it was $19.50 is what we ended up charging.
How is it 50% less than the rent in New Jersey? And
I don't know.
and you're in the major huge
Well,
city.
we're not. It's
His
not
house
in
is
like
on the
the
outs-
primo.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, but
just outside
Tommy's
of
though. Tommy lives in a good spot, and even your
Yeah.
place in where you live, Jim, your house was cheap.
Right. We got a
Yeah.
pretty cheap house, all things considered. We bought like 3 blocks away from where everything's just.
Yeah. Your place that you first moved when you moved to Chicago, that place wasn't it like the original rent on that was like 32 or something like that?
No, it was $2,800 a month, and then it went up to $2,900 by the time we moved out.
Dude, that
And
is
it was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
yeah, that place
That's
was
insane.
enormous, and it was
Yeah.
under $3,000 a month for rent.
I kind of missed that place.
In
Yeah.
a good spot too.
Yeah, that was a great.
Yeah.
That street was the best.
And for
Yeah.
those of you who are like, oh, that's expensive. Yes, that is expensive rent,
Yeah.
but it's also in
It's the city.
Chicago, and it's a huge place.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
Huge.
it's not.
with a yard.
It's not
close to
North
public
Georgia.
Transportation. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like
North
it's all
Georgia.
Yeah, it's all relative. Like
But
you
Tommy,
live
I
in
mean, but Tommy's rent is like not that much higher than our rental properties in Georgia.
yeah.
No. It's like, what do you pay,
It's-
Tommy? 1,400?
No, right now in this 2-bedroom, it's $2,095, I think.
Oh,
2,000.
jeez.
Yeah, it's basically 2,000.
I got to bump up my rent.
Yeah.
Me
the
too.
one bedrooms in this complex are like 14, but they also some
Michael,
of the
you-
one bedrooms are dog shit.
Michael, you pay out the ass for that apartment.
I know, but there's nothing over here, Jim. There's nothing here.
Like,
There's literally
you mean
nothing.
to rent.
Yeah, there's like that's the thing is it's supply and demand. There's no rentals here.
Yeah.
Like
That's
none.
so crazy.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah,
insane.
There's certain
It's
places
just because
you
your
just-
whole complex is just full of like medical and professional people like you.
Yeah, just like young professional mostly.
Yeah. Do you
Uh-huh.
like is buying a house on your radar?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Problem is now, I mean, the mortgage rate went up to 7% now.
Brutal. You also have to
prices
just ride it out.
I mean, so we're just waiting. I mean, if something comes along, if it's like a deal too good to pass up, then I'll jump on it. But like, I really don't want to get a mortgage
Yeah.
at 7%.
No.
My brother-in-law got a house in August of 2020 in Tallahassee, and the interest rate was 2.2
Oh,
that he's locked in on.
Jesus.
Insanity.
He got the house for like three something, and I'm sure it's worth like way
I mean,
way more than that now.
That's what I'm saying. So imagine getting another 6% on there,
No,
you know,
no.
for your mortgage, and that's insanity when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Speaking
saw-
of, we're closing on a house on Tuesday.
Hey-o.
Did you
Wait, which
tell-
one is that?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I always feel
Got
gets
it.
confused as
Giant backyard.
When are you
Yeah,
gonna
I've
move
got-
to that one?
I've gotten less excited about Jim moving because he moves every
'Cause I
year
move all the time.
Jim has moved. For the people listening and watching, Jim moves. I mean, every year.
Yeah.
Forever.
I've moved every year since 2019.
Unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable.
It's I
Sometimes
don't,
more than once a year.
yeah. I mean, that's
Why
why it's like
do you do that?
he's like, I'm buying a house. I've never been less impressed by something than Jim buying a house and moving.
Yeah,
It's
like,
all
I
right,
really don't care.
cool. In 6
Part
months,
of our
when you do it-
strategy, we were buying duplexes and living in one side, and then keeping them and buying another duplex. So that kinda means-
strategy.
That's
Okay,
stupid.
well, fine.
It doesn't fit my fun.
Is
Yeah.
this other one a duplex?
No, we're getting. It's just a single family. now.
Okay.
Oh wow, shocking.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a guest bedroom?
No, there's
No.
not. I mean, so I won't be visiting Jim.
There would be if we didn't have a second kid coming.
Jeez Louise. Is he not ridiculous?
It's unreal.
We
Yeah,
can't
the-
afford anything, man. We
I
can't
know,
afford a
this guy-
four
You
You
bedroom.
can afford one more bedroom?
Dude, a 4-bedroom kicks everything up like $200,000.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you, this is the cheapest house, and it's small, but the outside is huge, and the actual house is laid out really well. We're gonna add a bedroom to the basement more than likely,
So how long are
Might
you gonna live
build it
there
out.
for? A year?
probably. And then we'll move out into a triplex or something.
God.
I don't. Shout out to Liz for being okay with just moving all the time.
Liz doesn't care. It's more like Jim. I feel like Jim would care more than Liz. Liz doesn't care at all.
No, I'm over it now. I can't do it
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
the moving and stuff like
I
that.
will say, if I could do it all over again, I would have started doing, like, if I was single, and I would have started doing this like in 2011 and just done
Yeah.
it nonstop, and I would have like 50 properties by now.
Oh god, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
God, if you could just like get rid of your family, you know, you could.
I don't know,
You
if
could
I
do
could
this-
just like go back in time and delete my family, incredible.
Nick and I always
Yeah.
joke about stuff like that when we play Call of Duty. I'm like,
Hey,
what
real
if you
quick,
just
I
like,
gotta take this. It's actually an emergency from Jason.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Well, I guess
Hey.
we can edit this out, right?
Anyways, a little brief intermission there. Jim with the business phone call.
Hey,
Yeah.
so wanted to ask you guys, do you guys think you would ever start your own practice?
Mm,
I mean, I kind of am already.
yeah, I was about to say, isn't Michael like already doing that? Basically?
Yeah.
Well,
mean,
not
not radiology. practice.
radiology.
Yeah, not radiology.
I'm talking about
wise.
radiology.
I don't know. Not, it's not
talking
really.
about your side piece.
You're talking about like me and Tommy starting a practice, or like separate.
Well, made together, sure, but also just like any one of you have the desire to actually go through that process from start to finish.
I
I
mean,
think it's become so hard in the past like 20 years to like
Really?
start from scratch anymore that's real tough to like do, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's so owned by large groups now, everything in medicine, big hospital systems and big private equity companies, that for you to go alone, it's definitely feasible. You can definitely have like your own way of doing things and carve out your own path and have your own rules, which is good. It's like being a
Right.
business owner, you know. But like for instance, in my field, interventional radiology, you could do it and start your own practice and have your own patients. But it's the whole thing where, you know, patients don't just come. You have to go out there and grind and go door to door, get some patients, show them what you do, give presentations to different fields to show them what you can do, what they're capable of, get a referral base. It's a lot of work. And then a lot of people in my field, they're like, yeah, but you don't have to take call when you know, have your own practice and stuff. But like, that's true. But also,
You kind
you're
of
the only
do.
doctor in your practice. So your patients are going to be calling you after hours all the
Yeah.
time. They want to talk to
Yeah.
you. And, you know, then you have to get hospital affiliations, and that's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
That's the one, the hospital affiliation. You have to like finagle yourself into especially radiology. Like interventionally, you could probably do it a little better than like
Breast,
most
I don't
other.
think breast is impossible.
No, breast would be, you could, so you would have to get an affiliation with a place that has like breast surgeons, is
Yeah.
like thing, because we're so closely tied with breast surgeons that it's like we basically just work together nonstop. And so you could like feasibly have like a practice. It would just be tough. I think once you got an affiliation with the hospital and breast surgeons that you worked with and stuff, you could do it a little bit, but it's so tough to like find those hospital affiliations. You're doing so much work for so long before it actually pays off.
There's no incentive to do it though.
Yeah. So
Like,
you're like, unless you're just like, I want to create something, because I've thought about this and I was like, will that be a thing that could happen? And it's like, you're putting in time for like 15 more years and for like possibly pay off, but it's like the work that you put in the 15 years will be like 3 times the amount that you would do for
right.
like just a normal job.
I had one of my buddies who was old fellow of mine in residency. He did that. And he basically said the only way you'll be successful is if like you eat, sleep, and breathe your business, and that's
Yep.
all you care about, and that's all you want to do.
See,
He's like,
that's what I keep coming back to, because I get like, there's a lot of frustrations with like working for somebody the older I get, because I just like was like I really just want to do my own thing every day and just be my own boss, but like I can't. I'm gonna end up like neglecting my family if I do something like that.
Yeah.
right. That's what I think too. I think the amount of time you would have to spend to start your own practice would be, I mean, you probably have to work twice as hard as you do now, and
Oh yeah,
you don't actually see any benefits of it for years.
yeah.
And then those missed opportunities during those years that you spent working, you would have made so much money and had so much more vacation time
I
off
know.
in the meantime. So it's really not worth it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Also, like I don't know how to run a business.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have any business training.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've never ran a business either, but I honestly think you could do it.
Okay.
I mean, I've never ran a business either, but I know for a fact that you should do it. It's actually,
I feel like it comes down to being organized and like just being conservative with what you spend.
right.
I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing.
Being aware, not just like
Yeah.
oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to have your finger on the pulse of like every aspect.
Right.
Like, kind of know what's going on with everything. But
The
like,
key is the key to that is when like you can't just be, I just want to be a doctor doing my thing. That's like
Yeah.
that's not gonna, that doesn't work.
I know. One of actually a few of my neurologist colleagues are like starting their own practice recently. Because everybody literally is just hitting the same point in their career that I am right now, which is just like, dude, I'm done listening to like somebody who's not a neurologist tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Well,
even
oh, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say, even like there's so many, if you go on like PA or NP job postings and stuff right now, or even doctors, there's just so many clinical positions. Just nobody wants to work in like clinical medicine anymore, because
Yeah,
it's so draining.
It's
To be
such
like
a grind.
outpatient and seeing
Yeah.
patients, reimbursements are down so low that you have to work so hard and see so many more patients. That's just
Yeah.
not feasible. That it's literally just burnout central. Like, who wants that?
Yeah.
I know.
you're working for some person that's like a higher up that's just like, hey man, you got to see all these patients, and they're like, just do more or do this specific thing. You're like, why do I need to do that? They're like, you just have to.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
it'd be like, can you increase my pay? Nah,
yeah,
gonna pay you the same. You just
Yeah.
gotta see more.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's the same, but you just work
Oh,
more.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's why like what Michael and like me will do. It's like you work for a private group, you become a partner, like a shareholder in that group. So it's like you have a stake and a say as part of like a group. And so you're not necessarily like, Mike, I don't know how you feel because you obviously have experience, but it's like you don't like you have people that are higher up in the group than you, but like you're not necessarily working for someone.
Right.
Like you're part of that thing you're working for. So like as you do work, it's like, well, this is kind of for me too. And I'm working together with people to like create a better work environment and make more money.
Yeah, it's a lot better, but also, I mean, you're still working for people in the sense that like it's like you as a breast radiologist, you'll be doing like multidisciplinary approach, like with the surgeon we talked about many times, where you worked with the breast surgeons, you worked with the breast oncologists, et cetera, et cetera. So if they don't like you and they don't think that like you're working on the same team as them, like they may tell the hospital administrators like, hey, you know, Tommy Cellini's not pulling his weight over here. Maybe we should find another radiologist.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, so it's
Right.
kind of like, but you have to save the face for your practice, you know, because that's kind of like, that's just how it goes in this business, you know.
But that's like independent of like whether or not you work for someone or you own your own practice.
Right.
Like,
I
you have
guess
to-
my
yeah.
point is like, there's always going to be someone, like no matter how
Yeah, yeah.
independent you are, there's always going to be someone who will be like peripherally in charge of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cause I always think of it like I see academic medicine and it's like you're working for this giant hospital that clearly wants one thing for you to do is just like grind yourself to the bone to do
Yeah.
all their bidding.
For them.
Yeah, for them, for someone you don't really know. And it's like there's a chain of command. Like my email system has like a thing where it's like it shows who your next higher up is. And so you can literally just go up the chain and it will go all the way to like the CEO of the entire hospital system.
Really?
It's like the weirdest thing. It's like
You just go
mine
up the
goes to
chain?
like, yeah, mine goes like my attendings goes to like some administrator, that goes to another one, and it keeps going. Then it's like senior vice president, CEO. Yeah, it's like so funny.
Slowly up the chain.
Yeah, but it's like that whole thing in academics where it's like, yeah, it's like just do more work. And they're like, well, do I get paid for that? And they're like, no, you just have to do it.
Yeah,
cool.
sorry, nah, bro.
Yeah,
Just gotta do it.
sweet.
Have you guys had probably not because you work in your own field so much, but like have you had moments where somebody that's not a radiologist was like telling you what to do and like how to work?
How to work?
Yeah, and just like giving their like, hey, I think you should see this many appointments and I think you should do this and that and try to micromanage you.
No, I mean that's mostly like the head people in your practice will like manage all that. I'm just like kind of
Really?
the worker bee. When you're an associate, you're just kind of the worker bee. You're kind of not involved in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, keep working hard down there. One day
Yeah.
you'll be us.
Yeah, you're right.
God.
Thanks. I guess maybe
But-
like I don't know. It's because I saw that too a little bit at like my residency. They would like kind of bend over backwards for the consultants and stuff, and that they kind of told them to do like change things up, but they would always agree to it because they're like, oh, we'll just make the residents do it. So I was like,
yeah, well, I
oh,
mean, you ultimately want to like, yeah, you ultimately want to help whoever you're working with do their job better. So the last thing you
Yeah.
want to do is be like, if they're like, hey, could you, I don't know, say someone's doing like a knee replacement and they're like, hey, you know, when you read the CTs, like, could you read it this way? It really helps me on the OR. I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
yeah, oh yeah,
I'm not gonna be like, nah, this is how I read them,
yeah,
you know, because then they'll be like, who is this guy?
yeah.
Like it's a, you know, collegial thing like in medicine. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, Jim.
Yeah, it answers it pretty well.
Okay, well that's nice. All right. Well, do you want to do another topic of medicine in the
Yeah, we can do another topic.
you want to do another topic?
What's another topic?
Tommy, what you got for us?
So this is what I was trying to bring up last week, but we kind of ran out of time.
Oh, I know what you're gonna bring up.
As country picks sweeter than sweet tea. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Still there on the left.
He's
Even a
still
different
there.
article on ESPN. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to
ESPN.
blur her out the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't.
Diagnosed
You
with
don't have to blur that out.
Do I not?
No,
Yeah,
All right,
probably
fine.
not.
it's on the ESPN homepage for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's
Broncos, Colts, and then country picks.
yeah, it is a Disney company, so that makes sense.
Country
Yeah.
NFL picks.
Yeah. So Tyrod Taylor, last year, was it last year or 2 years ago? He was the starting quarterback for the LA Chargers. Had a like rib cartilage issue, and so he had an injection before the game, and the doctor, like the orthopedic that did it, gave him a pneumothorax, and so obviously once he had the pneumothorax, he was ruled out for the game.
All right, so hold on. Explain what a pneumothorax is for those
So
who don't know.
Pneumothorax, your chest or your thorax where your lungs are, it's like contained space. It's like a vacuum basically. So when you break that seal, your lung deflates because there's no like, oh God, what's the term?
Negative pressure.
Negative pressure. But there's like that other term for it's like what water does, where it's like you can stick two glasses together with water.
Stick two glasses.
It's like
together.
static pressure or something like that. Static for it's something like that. So that's kind of how the plural.
You might need to phone a friend for lost.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man. So so that's how the lungs
okay.
work. So you that space. And so you drop a lung and it makes
breast tissue is very close to the thoracic cavity. So
right. Yeah, it is.
Let me rephrase that. So
yeah.
if you introduce air or interfere with the pleural space,
the seal
it allows air to be trapped within the thorax, and therefore the lung cannot fully expand.
Yep. And so the lung can't expand, you're losing oxygen, you're not oxygenating blood, bad things happen. Right. So this happens to Tyrod Taylor. He's out, leading the way for rookie Justin Herbert to come in, who subsequently turned out to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. After that, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's pretty good." So Tyrod Taylor lost his starting job and subsequently left the team. So he's suing, saying that the doctor is at fault for his losing his starting
position.
So now he's suing him for $5 million, which is like basically what he thinks his lost wages are as a season of a starter.
That escalated.
Yeah, that escalated very quickly. Now I don't know if they used ultrasound image guide or they likely went in blind. Was probably how they did this procedure, because I feel like that's an old school ortho.
Let me explain this as an interventionalist here, since this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah. So what was the doctor trying to do in the first place?
I think what the doctor was trying to do would be like
some steroid lidocaine injection,
intercostal block, like a nerve block, basically. So maybe he had like
because the guy like fractured a rib, right?
Yeah, and you have a lot of nerves that run along your ribs, like the neurovascular bundle. You basically just put a needle in that area and blast it with lidocaine steroids, and it numbs it up. Therefore, you can continue to play.
So you don't feel the pain.
A traditional medicine way of thinking.
Yeah. And the NFL way of thinking.
Because it's not going to harm you further, but it just hurts really bad. So it's if you can get rid of the pain, it's like, well, now I can function pretty well.
Yeah, you do it a lot for people who have like, maybe an expansile rib lesion from metastatic cancer or something. You can do the same kind of thing.
Ugh.
So basically you just numb it up and it lasts a good bit, and you can continue out your day without not being able to breathe normally. So you usually use ultrasound or like CT, some sort of image guidance, and you just watch your needle go down to that muscle or that neurovascular bundle you're trying to block, and you just bathe it with whatever product you're using. Probably lidocaine, mix of bupivacaine and like Kinelog or something. So you do an image guidance because you don't want to go too far into the thoracic cavity, which would break the pleural lining and cause a pneumothorax. But the thing is like a lidocaine needle is about this long, so maybe like 3 centimeters long.
And they're thin.
Yeah, and very thin, very long. They're not long, but it's 3 centimeters. That's like the usual length. To get from the skin to the pleural space, I mean, can be like 1.5 centimeters. And even that small of a needle that you can stick anywhere, if it punctures the pleural lining, it can definitely cause a pneumothorax. Right. So you can't even stick the smallest needle that we do the numbing with into the pleural space that could cause a pneumo. So if you don't watch it under image guidance, which I don't know if this person did, it's, I mean, comically simple to cause a pneumothorax.
Oh yeah. Right. So here's an image. This kind of looks like what I do.
This is exactly what he was doing, probably.
Yeah. So this is, but I think these old school orthos, they don't use ultrasound. They just do it by feel. And that's like a common thing. And so we're, as Michael and I, our training
Sounds like
is
something a vet would do.
yeah, our training is exclusively, it's like use the ultrasound.
Or
to
should I
guide
say
your
have
needle.
to do?
And so we're like, well, yeah, just use an ultrasound. But it's not as simple to use an ultrasound. It's like, it's a complicated thing to use an ultrasound to guide a needle in because you're using a very thin.
If you put an ultrasound probe on the side of your chest, you'll see nothing.
Yeah. So
if you don't know what you're doing.
Correct.
So this is
I
like
know because
that,
I've done it.
yeah. So this is that nerve block. So when I usually do it, there's breast tissue here, and then you see the pleura underneath. So here's a lung right here. Here's the pleura. These are ribs, these big black things here. And this
What
is
is
the
the
needle.
pleura? Hold on. Describe what the pleura is.
The pleura is the lining that lines your lungs in the thoracic cavity.
There's a lining to this cavity that is beneath the ribs.
Yeah,
To the ribs.
This is skin. We're going deep. This is subcu fat. This is like muscle and fascia along over the ribs, so superficial ribs.
Right. And it's a cross section of the ribs.
Right. You're kind
What
of
you're seeing right there.
So this distance right here, so tip of needle and to here is probably like we're zoomed in pretty far.
Like
I mean,
it looks like 1 centimeter if that scales.
oh, is that
right.
is it the scale? Yeah.
I don't know. I
so
can't read that scale. Probably one. Those are probably like
This-
half centimeter marks.
This is So that's one. So we're here.
1.5.
Yeah. So we're about 1 centimeter. So if you look at how small 1 centimeter is, look it up on a ruler. And you think of that like any sort of motion, these people are breathing as they're doing it. So their chest wall is going up and down.
Right.
And you're trying to, so any slip of the needle could pierce into that area. And now you have a pneumothorax. You have an issue.
Or if the guy's like, oh, that hurt. And then like goes like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I've never done a nerve block, but I imagine when you're doing it, it probably stings because lidocaine stings. So I'm sure when you're numbing a nerve, it probably stings and people twitch around. And they're probably like, because people do that all the time when I inject lidocaine for a breast biopsy. It's like, ow, that burns, and they twitch a
Right.
little. So it's if you're close to the pleura and they twitch a little, and you go in, and you're like, oops, sorry.
But it's
So-
it's so easy to do that.
It'd be so easy. It doesn't happen. Here's the thing I always tell people in medicine. It's like these things don't happen. Like when I do a consent form, like there's a small percent chance they don't happen because you train a ton to not do this. But like if you didn't do that, it would be so easy just to drop a lung. Like you
Right.
could do it effortlessly. You just be like slightly not as careful as you usually are. It's crazy.
Right.
So he's suing him for $5 million for damages. I don't know how that's going to work out. I think they fired him, or he might still be working with the staff, and that's who
He was working with Justin Herbert.
That's right. That's right.
He's doing the same thing to Justin Herbert's ribs.
Yeah, I think he learned his lesson, and now Justin Herbert's
mean,
perfectly
To
fine.
to be fair, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he probably does a lot of these, which is why
No, let's roast him without knowing all the facts.
which is why he was doing them. But it's just goes to show. I mean, no matter how comfortable you are with these procedures, you still have to like respect what you're doing. Use ultrasound guidance, watch your needle tip. That's key there, and know where you are the whole time.
Show me your needle. Show me your needle.
Show me your needle. Tommy and I, throughout our
Show me
entire
your
residency,
needle. What is that?
when you're learning how to do ultrasound guided procedures, which is like so counterintuitive than anything you've ever learned.
Yeah.
Try to guide your needle down. Now it's like driving a car or something, but when you're learning, it's just constantly like showing your needle, show me your needle. And that's trying to get your needle in plane with the ultrasound probe so you can actually see your whole length of your needle and know exactly where you are and how deep you are.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing to learn.
Oh, it's so hard. it's so difficult.
But eventually it kind of clicks.
Yeah. Then it kind of goes to play because when you're using the ultrasound probe, which is just awkward in general, it's like literally any tiny movement, you're just out of plane. You're like, now I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's when you just start jamming, right? Going like that.
Right. That's probably how you started out. You're like,
Go straight into the lung and then I pull back.
Yeah.
yeah, you're like Jeffrey Dahmer holding the knife. Like,
I still don't watch
Don't
that. Do you watch
leave.
that?
don't leave.
We're gonna watch a movie.
I'll tell you what, we tried watching Andor, and that was the worst show I've seen in the last, 2 years.
What is that?
Liz says it's the worst show she's ever seen. My wife. She said, this is the worst show I've ever seen. 0 out of 10. We tried to get 2 episodes in. She says it's worse than She-Hulk.
Wait, what is Andor?
Andor's that new Star Wars show.
Oh, they ruined another Star Wars show?
Yeah.
Right.
So we watched Dahmer as a palate cleanser.
not sure that's the appropriate term for that.
It was not a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I got halfway into Dom, or I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can do this.
Dude, Caitlin's been watching it. I watched the first episode and I had a nightmare that night.
Yeah,
that was in the show. It's so
I did
creepy.
too.
It's so
I did
creepy.
too.
And I woke
I had a
up,
nightmare. I was just in a dirty apartment like that.
dude. I had the exact same dream, like nightmare. I woke up and I was like, did I have a nightmare that I was like from something? I was like, that hasn't happened in 20 years. I was like, yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not watching this show anymore, man.
I don't know.
I've never seen a show that looks more yucky.
I've never been
it's
into
so
the whole
yucky.
like serial killer murder mystery shows.
Well, because I think the show was shot in the summertime, like in Wisconsin, or it takes place in the summertime in Wisconsin, and everybody's like sweating profusely with like no AC because it's a Midwest town with a multi-family apartment in like the late 80s. So they've got like maybe a window unit, but probably not because it's just hot for 3 months. But when it is hot, it's like legitimately hot.
Yeah.
And everybody is just sweating, and they look like they haven't showered in 3 days. Everybody in the show. Oh, it's brutal.
I think it's by design. I wouldn't watch it if you're faint at heart because it is rough.
Yeah. So we're one episode in, brutal.
Yeah.
But Andor is an atrocity. Don't watch that show.
I can't believe that. Actually, I can't believe that. Who am I kidding?
I mean,
2 episodes in, we're like, why are we supposed to care about any of this? Is so stupid. I don't know what. You know how Star Wars characters, like, they start making up these names in like the Star Wars universe, and it's like, okay, Han Solo is one thing, but now we've got guys that are like blee blop blimblow, and it's like, you know, who is this person? Like, I don't care about this random. Oh, he's a I don't know, a mechanic. He's just like,
they're just trying to keep the franchise going there.
Oh my god, it's brutal.
It's not like Lord of the Rings or
great show, by the way.
Yeah, or like other thing, like at least Game of Thrones too. It's like got that where there's like a source material that you can go back and be like, we have a reference that someone created a world to do. Star Wars is just like, it wasn't a huge world before it started, so now people are just like adding on. Like, so now you can just arbitrarily create stuff and be like, oh no, this is what happened. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if we explored this random planet that you've never heard of before? It's like, no, it wouldn't be cool because that's not what Star Wars was when I saw it.
Yeah, it's not remotely how it's supposed to be.
Michael, you watched the Game of Thrones show, right?
Yeah, we watched Game of Thrones. I didn't see the last episode because we've been literally binging Euphoria the last 3 nights.
Oh, you just started watching Euphoria?
Yeah, we're like almost done with. They're caught up now.
That's
a hard watch too sometimes.
It's pretty scary too.
Yeah.
Having a daughter, I'm like, please be careful out there, B.
Well, also they're like the most advanced high school students on earth.
Oh, I know. It's so over the top.
I'm like, when I was in high school, I was like, hey guys.
Yeah.
They're like drinking, smoking, having sex, like all over the place. Like,
not me, dude. I was like that high school quarterback guy in high school.
Yeah, right.
Totally, yeah.
They're like having orgy benders parties and stuff like that. They're like, just like every other high schooler. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Like, that was high school for me.
Out drinking and stuff. I'm like, what?
I'm like, I couldn't get it. They're like doing drugs and things. The guys are like selling hardcore drugs like fentanyl.
Doing heroin. Like, fentanyl. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How sick is the
fentanyl didn't exist when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was till residency.
I saw somebody with weed one time in the bathroom and I was like, oh my God, he has drugs.
Yeah, but that's how it was back then.
Oh, dude, weed was like back then when you're in high school, you're like, dude, this guy's hardcore.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's a loser, dude. He doesn't do anything. He just smokes weed.
Yeah, it's gateway drug.
Gateway.
Michael, how far into Euphoria are you?
We're at the 2nd season, like episode 6, so we have like 2 left.
Have you seen the so the bad kind of like the bad guy is like that guy's dad?
Yeah. He just went on the last
have
episode.
You seen his Jeep?
Yeah, he just went on a rampage in his Jeep.
I know his Jeep.
I want that Jeep.
So sick. I know his Jeep is. We were watching that. I was like, dude, this guy's Jeep is goals right now. But
I know, a little like,
but I like his Jeep.
Yeah, a little early 90s, like YJ or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
top down.
It needs a lift though.
It needs a lift. Yeah, that's true. Actually, let me see. I want to see this Jeep.
That's mine. Have you seen it, Tommy?
So I watched the first season, or like the first like handful of episodes in the first season, but I never watched the subsequent seasons.
There's a couple things I've noticed with this now is one, the cinematography in that show is unreal. Like unreal. Two, the acting is,
and this guy knows cinematography.
I don't know cinematography, but I've been like paying attention to it, and I'm like, I don't know, because I film stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's like one of those that little thing at the top left. Yeah, that thing. Top left.
So is that a Renegade?
I don't know. That's the newer model.
God, it looks like Uncle Robert's Jeep.
I
that
know.
like white one.
But two, so the cinematography is incredible. If you watch the scenes and like the camera work, how they're moving back and forth, it's like crazy. And then the acting is phenomenal in that show. It's like top tier.
Yeah, everyone said like Zendaya is an amazing actress.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's ridiculous. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's it. And then I got to catch up on Game of Thrones. I'll do it this weekend. I'm off next week. So
can you imagine trying to watch that show in high school and how bad mom would not let us watch it?
Oh, no chance we'd watch that in high school.
Never.
First of all,
how far in do you think to the first episode you think mom would let us watch?
You're missing the point here. Is first of
all, out of your mind, you're not watching this filth.
No, first of all, Jim, you're missing the biggest point here is that there's no way we could convince mom to pay $8 a month for HBO.
I was just gonna say HBO was non-existent.
So there wasn't. It wouldn't even be an option to watch the show.
$8 a month.
She'd be like, "Are you out of your damn mind trying to get me to spend that kind of money?
Where am I supposed to get that $8 from, huh?"
Dude, how heavy was our television?
Pay for it?
The heaviest thing on earth.
Dude, remember trying to move the TV to like mom decided she wanted to just rearrange the living room, so we had to like move the TV to the other corner.
Yeah,
I remember it was like resting precariously on this like tiny like whatever little
this Walmart entertainment center.
Yeah, like Walmart, not even entertainment center. It was just like a bookcase.
That TV was so front heavy.
It was this huge cube. It was like something the strongman would lift at the very last event of like the world's strongest man.
It was like bulletproof glass. The thing was so heavy.
Yeah.
Jim, I don't know if you remember, there was one time, I can't remember, I think I was in high school. This was it was when Jason was like powerlifting or like doing bodybuilding. And you were pretty big at that time, like strong. And you two had to carry the TV. Jason at this time could deadlift like 500 pounds. Yeah. You guys were like struggling to move this TV. The two of you. I was like, how heavy is this thing? I was like, Jason.
I remember we kept putting it down because our grip would die. We'd just sit there and go, Christ. And like our forehead was like beating sweat.
But it was the heaviest TV. I've never seen something so front heavy.
Jason would like dumbbell press like 150s. And he's like, this TV is too heavy.
He's like, I can't do it.
All right,
let's wrap object that breaks me.
Let's wrap this up, boys and girls.
All right, we got a fan question on the comments.
Oh wow, last one.
Shout out Nicholas Cheney commented 2 days ago. I would love to know what other specialties Tommy considered before choosing radiology, and was Michael a big influence?
Yeah, Michael was a big influence with that because he was already doing radiology at the time. I was an
influencer.
He was an influencer.
I remember the first time I heard that word, I wanted to puke.
I hate that word, but it's kind of true because so many people like not by like choice. Sorry to cut you off, Tommy, but so many people like will be like, "Oh, you influenced me to go into radiology," and I'm like, "Did I?"
Yeah, you're interesting.
Yeah,
content creator is the appropriate term.
Yeah, content creator is the appropriate term. But go ahead.
I'll accept that. Go ahead, Tommy.
But it was.
And we're back.
I don't even know what I was considering other than radiology. I think I was kind of like didn't really know. I did an IR rotation and I love that. And so I was like, oh, this is cool. And I considered doing IR for a while. And then I did IR in residency and I was like, this is awful. I don't want any part of this. So I was like, I'll do diagnostics and stuff.
Yeah, but IR, your residency was awful. Not like awful as in they're terrible, but it's so much work.
It was so much work.
It's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a really good program, but it's a grind.
Yeah. I had rounds at 5 o'clock in the morning on it. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, let me reconsider.
Yeah, I'll not be doing this. But I actually don't think God, I was trying to remember. I think I would have probably ended up going into like internal medicine and eventually done like palliative care, to be honest with you. I think I could have done that. I always enjoy that rotation and stuff like that.
Kaylin could have a field day.
I know Kaylin, that's Kaylin's dream is if I was a palliative doctor, she'd be like, oh God, refer.
Yeah.
So
Michael, did you ever consider anything besides radiology?
I considered urology briefly.
Really?
That was one of the ones I was interested in. That's about it though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I think ER I kind of liked and saw the allure of, but it just seemed like everyone gets burnt out doing ER.
Right.
That
I
deterred me.
considered accounting.
Accounting? Okay.
No.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps up another lovely episode.
Episode 25.
Michael, what do you have releasing on your channel this week?
I did a reaction video that will be released approximately 1 hour after this video is released, showing
You do
the
nighttime releases.
what?
Oh wait, it'll be coming on Sunday. Never
Sunday
mind, I'm an
morning,
idiot.
yeah. So it'll be it was an episode of Good Doctor where they did interventional radiology, so I reacted to that. It's
Did you overlaugh during scenes that you normally wouldn't have laughed at?
No, I didn't. I only focused on that because I can't watch the whole show. It's too bad.
Right.
But I focused on the IR part and described it, and they did a decent job, better than the last one I saw. But yeah.
Do you talk about
I
how
think-
in those shows all the doctors do every specialty?
Yeah, it was like a surgeon doing. He's like, I can't do this hepatectomy. He needs to go to IR, and then he's doing an embolization. I was like, man, this guy just like takes off his hat and puts on another one.
Yeah, this guy
Yeah.
could do it all.
And then he was doing a cardiac surgery right after that.
Nice.
So,
How easy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's really
Oh my
easy.
God.
Just
That's the
switch it
last
up.
person you want doing that.
Yeah, right.
That's cool. I think I'm gonna just like keep reacting to like vet episodes and vet TV shows.
Yeah.
It seems to be like what's going pretty well.
I mean, whatever that nonsense you had on your TikTok the other day was, I mean, that's appalling. Anybody who says put like this elixir on your Tommy G, I don't know if you saw it, but it was like, the dog had a lipoma or something. He was like, put this elixir on it and it'll go away. Like, who are
guys
you
put
trying to fool?
He said put frankincense on it.
Yeah, the frankincense made me die laughing. I was like, frankincense? When Jim goes,
Frankincense.
this is a gift to Jesus?
Yeah. All this time we thought surgical excision was necessary. You just had to put olive oil on it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you talking?
Frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah. Why did I think of this?
Yeah, I mean, how ridiculous.
Hey,
But-
don't worry about getting a diagnosis for the sarcoma.
Yeah.
Put oil on it.
Yeah.
It
And
was
watch it
perfect.
grow.
So, Michael, you asked if he's a vet. That guy here, we can pull him up real quick.
All right, be quick.
Yeah, I was about to
Real
say.
quick,
you
and
gotta
then
go
we'll
fast.
go.
I knew we'd
Let's
get
see.
Jim going on this.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta shout out my channel.
Not my channel. I'm just gonna pull up his channel because he's a freaking quack.
I mean, that's a huge quack.
Oh yeah.
He's got a
Allegedly.
massive channel though, which is super annoying.
That's like kind of sickening.
Guy's got 640,000 subscribers.
Oh,
It's like
my
the
God.
Dr. Oz of
Look at this, 639.
natural health for dogs and cats.
Yeah, so this guy's a total joke, and the reason he's a joke is because he just disparages veterinarians like all the time, and says like, you don't have to do that, just do this instead. All they're doing is like, getting you, robbing you of your money, sort of thing. But what happened is he did this. He's a Canadian vet, and the Canadian Board of Veterinary Medicine, wherever he works, what district, they took his license away. Actually, they fined him, and then instead of paying the fine, he decided to he like gave his license up because they were like the meat of what they were fining him for was the fact that he kept disparaging like traditional vet med. And they were like, stop doing that. Here's a fine. And he was like, I'm not going to be a vet anymore. But he just made a YouTube
So
channel.
he's out in left field, huh?
He is beyond left field.
Yeah.
He is more left field than chiropractors, and that's saying a lot.
No, I think this guy is well beyond.
Oh yeah. He's
Way beyond
far
chiropractors.
gone.
Most
So-
chiropractors aren't that way. There's some bad apples, but none of them that I've seen disparage medicine besides like the natural ones,
Yeah.
Right.
But
All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. Maybe we can do some more veterinary secrets starting next week.
Yep,
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
good.
That
See you
works.
guys.
We'll rub some oil on it.
Yep.
Some
Like,
frankincense
subscribe,
work.
and
Like, subscribe, DVM Cellini, DR Cellini, nothing Tommy.
all that YouTube stuff, and we'll see you on the next one next week, same time, same
Bye,
place. Bye.
Peace.